season. Have you met with the Glazers? Do you know for a fact that you're back next year? I know you have 3 years left on your deal.
No, we meet this week and we evaluate like we always evaluate. It hadn't changed the last 3 years, and we'll meet this week. And I get up and come to work every day trying to figure out how to get better.
To Buc fans who don't feel you've earned a chance to coach this team in 26.
All I can do is coach and be myself. You know, I've earned the chance. I won 3 straight division titles, so that says a lot as far as I'm concerned. But I don't really have a message for fans other than true fans are true fans, and we're going to try to do our best to go out there and win for them. You know, they're going to feel how they feel, but that's not a coach's problem. A coach's problem is to make the team better. That's all I'm looking forward to.
What is up, Bucs fans? Welcome into Real Bucs Talk here live Monday. The Buccaneers season has ended. They finished the season 8-9, second in the division. You heard Coach Todd Bowles there speaking to the media today. And Mark, I think the writing is on the wall. Just personally looking at that press conference, it's pretty much, I don't think he's got answers. He hasn't had answers throughout his time here. And we're kind of seeing the same mindset. He has yet to meet with the Glazers. And I think at some point when they do meet, I think we're going to get the notification that this guy is no longer the Buccaneers head coach. And he thinks he deserves to be the coach based on 3 straight division titles, which I think is just outrageous, especially when you look at the current makeup of this roster, the talent that is there, and the inconsistency that we've seen throughout each season to win those said divisions, because basically you're better than the other teams in said division, and the only reason you won because you came down to the last game of the year. It just doesn't show any signs of process or any signs of figuring out the solutions going forward.
100% agree with you. We've talked back and forth, and I think we've been on the train of Bowles has got to go for a little while now, but it's not like it's just this year thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is something we've been talking about for years. And then to say, oh, I've won 3 in a row, I think I've proven it. It sounds a little bit like Jameis before he left saying, oh, wow, what was it? I'm balling kind of thing. It's almost like so to speak, right? But my big thing is, how did we get there? And it's something I put on Twitter during the game, about talking about these 3 games were 3 seasons where he had. Let me see if I can pull that up, or if you can pull it up.
Yeah, I'll get it pulled up. Continue on.
But saying how you had an 8-9 season, you had I believe it was a 9-8,
9-10-7. Yeah.
So the 8-9 season was a Brady season. The rest of the division was so awful, you could sit the rest of your team because no one else had a chance of winning. It didn't matter if you won or lost. That's how bad it was. That's awful to think about. That's how bad your division is. And then next year, you win 9-8. You had to win it in the last game against the Panthers, who, if they beat you, you don't make it. And it was not a good, pretty game. Baker was hurt playing, but and then you finally got in. And then you had to rely on the best play caller we've ever had in Liam Cohen last year to get to 10-7. But still, it was a tight race to get to there, followed along with multiple losing streaks in the middle of the season. Yes, the injuries hurt, but the only consistent there was an awful defense year after year after year, a bottom 10, which I wrote in there. The only consistent thing is a bottom 10 defense, and it's just getting worse and worse every year. It's like, so you're the coach, and the 4 years of head coach, you had the bottom 10 defense. Yeah, there it is. But you're focusing on improving the team. Have you improved the team? So I'm put in there also with the 49ers. Yeah, they have an injured-riddled season, and look where they're at. Last year, someone's like, oh, well, they were 6-11 last year.
Yeah.
That was a one-off. And then they get back to what their normal thing is, right? They get hurt, they regroup, reload, so to speak, how Bruce Arians used to say, and they'd come back firing. There's no firing with Todd Bowles' teams. It's just stagnant, like mush, I guess you could say. It just doesn't ever have a high point and consistent high point. It's more of a, we're going to fall into a lull. We know we're going to fall into a lull, and blame it on the players, but you also got to blame on the coaches, because like they were saying, oh, so some of these guys don't know the game plan, like what Jamel Dean was saying. You think you go into practice understanding, and then all of a sudden the bullets start flying and you lose it. That's on the coaches too. Ask every individual guy in your room, do you fully understand it? Do you have any questions? Do we need to go over anything? Here's things you do need to know. Here's the spark notes for what this team's. That's what you're the teacher in that room, having them prepared for the test. You aren't doing that. That is what a coach is supposed to do. And don't tell me, oh, it just happens. It just happens. Sometimes you just lose the roster. You just lose your. No, not if you're in touch and literally telling them what they need to be doing, demanding the most out of them. And if they aren't giving it to you, you move on from that player or move on from that coach. A la the special teams coach. Why the hell is he still on the damn team all the way to the end of the season? You admitted that they suck so bad, you just kick it in the back of the end zone. Awful head coach decision. Like, there's so many things where it's like, and we would go back and forth so much. I'm talking a lot, but like, tell me.
No, you're good.
I would be the one always defending him, right? I would always be the one. I mean, he's a good scheme. It may be frustrating, but if you're in the right position, there's going to be pressure. It's just, you can feed off of that. But clearly, guys are not understanding where they need to be. And I think, to me, it's time to move on and get to a more downhill type of defense where you're being the aggressor, not having guys like Anthony Nelson, Yaya, Hassan Reddick just drop back frequently. I think they just need to be sent in and have the more athletic guys like linebackers, true middle linebackers, be coverage guys.
Yeah, I think you're seeing that across the board. When you look at the defenses that are in the top half of the league, you look at the top 10 EPA defenses that are consistent and have a approach. You know, you look at Seattle, you look at the Rams, even the 49ers with all the injuries that they have. You look at the Eagles, you look at Green Bay Packers, you know, Denver Broncos, Chargers, all these defenses that are smart. They know how to utilize their players in the best possible way. And then on top of that, they have a scheme that is not only simple for what they do, but it's complex at the same time. I think for Todd Bowles, his scheme is maybe too complicated and not enough of just letting guys do what they're supposed to do. And yeah, that's a great point by Kaler too. I mean, Liam Cohen, the offense, you could say like 2023 under Dave Canales, the defense was definitely doing more in that terms of that season. They were carrying more because the offense wasn't really like leading the way. You know, it was towards the end of the year when they had to get wins and get into the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, it can go, I would say more so defense in 23, but offensively last year is our best offense by far. And yeah, I mean, without the true play caller to help maximize Baker Mayfield, you saw how bad this team can be when you have an inconsistent offense and you have a defense that just kind of lost answers throughout the year because either guys were in the wrong position or not being played in a spot that they could succeed at. With Tyke Smith, should have been a nickel corner, much better in the box. Christian Izien not maximized either. Jacob Parrish maybe is better on the outside than he is inside at corner. There's a lot of different things. And then you look at the front seven. Yes. And this is where we put blame on Jason Licht because you don't have the linebackers. You don't have the second level. Yeah. I mean, that's perfectly fine. You don't have a top to bottom A+ roster, but what you do have, and John Ledyard pointed this out, you have a lot of solid players that are B-level players that should be enough to win more than 8 games especially in a division that you're much better than the other teams, or at least should be able to match up better and win. And I said it before the year started. I said, if this team can't go 6-0 in the division, you deserve to be fired. And it remains to be true. Like it's time to make a change. And yeah, I mean, you also have to point out like the inconsistency and then also the cowardness by Todd Bowles and his game strategy and playing to lose, changing the offense, especially in the second half of the year when Baker's interceptions started to go up and the aggression kind of went away. The whole run to 30 game plan against the Panthers, that was that was conservative BS from Todd Bowles that we have seen in the past. And it makes you question, what he does to these offensive play callers. And maybe it's a reason why they don't stay more than 1 year and you have to change coordinators constantly. Now, granted, they got head coaching jobs, so I get that. But it also tells like why you can't attract other offensive coordinators, because Liam Cohen wasn't proven before he got here. Like, he was a coordinator in college. He called plays at Kentucky. Dave Canales hadn't called plays at all.
Yeah.
And he only accepted the job because he was the only guy that actually wanted to come here.
Right.
They went after Todd Monken before him. They wanted Todd Monken. Todd Monken said, "Hell no, brother. I'm going to Baltimore." They asked other people. They interviewed so many guys that were much more advanced, more high profiled, and they got turned down because they see Todd Bowles, and I think he is what he is. He's a conservative coach that is stuck in his old ways and he tries to adapt. The thing that he adapted this year is they went out and forced him to get a game management coach, and it was working in the first half of the season. But in the second half, he went away from that, and you could see his old ways starting to come back to life. And that is a problem. You can't adapt when injuries hit. You don't know how to make changes when the tough gets going. It's not a good football coach. He's just a defensive coordinator that is trying to be a head coach. And yeah, I mean, we can all say, hey, we need edge rushers, we need linebackers. Yes, every team could probably say that. But at the same time, this is not a team desperate for talent. It has enough to win 11, 12 games that it should have. And we probably could be the number 2 seed right now if we had a more modern coach or a better coach that could help this roster. And John V says it perfectly. I agree.
All right. So a lot to unpack. We both said a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to get off your chest, right?
Right.
So I'm going to try and dive deep in a couple of these points. So to the point of not enough depth, you were saying we have B talent. We should still win games, which I do agree, right? Yeah. But also, this is the biggest point here. Rampage 1328 said, Light, 0 Pro Bowlers, last 5 drafts. Also Light. This is a big one. We love Todd. He's a great leader who has provided stability. I've said this before. I think they are married. I think they're married at the hip. They too much loyalty, too much. I've called this the tidy whitey team or tidy whitey Bucks.
Well, I think that changes in 2 days when he's fired. That's just my opinion.
But think about what he just said here. That is why I'm giving him credit. So we love Todd. He's a great leader who has provided stability. There's Jason Licht, and then is screaming over to BA, who's going on national televised thing saying, "Oh no, we're not worried about Todd. He's proven himself." Blah blah blah. It's like you got to read into it. You just can't say NFC South division title.
Yeah,
clearly it's an easy thing. It's oversight. No. How did you get to that? Was it because the rest of the teams were that god awful, or did you truly win it? Did you win it by a 12-5 record and everyone else is like 6-10, or what? How did you win it? Right. So that's why that earlier on I was saying like these two, it's almost like you got to fire both, because who's telling the Glazers, "Oh, let's give Todd another 3-year deal. Let's just go together. Let's get a contract together because this is where we're going to be." Right. It's so in that same fashion, if you want the Glazers to do something, who the hell's telling them to make a change? Jason Licht clearly ain't saying that. BA clearly ain't saying that. There's too many voices telling. No, let me finish though. There's too many voices saying, let's not change it. Let's keep it stable. Let's keep it here. but you see what the product is on the field, the process that is telling you, even the players today saying the process of some of these guys, they just don't get it and they're not trying hard enough. Well, the coaches got to make sure they're prepared, right? So that was just the coaching aspect of it. And then even if you did keep Todd Bowles, like you were just mentioning with the coaches wise, Dave Canales never called plays, and he was the last freaking option. Cohen saw it as an opportunity to get back in the NFL. Total control of his play call because that's what he wanted to damn do. Couldn't do it at the Rams. He went to Kentucky, came back here. It's like, oh shit, now look what I got. And then we just hit a dub with Grizzard, another guy that had never called plays. So who the hell is going to come here? If the only way you could keep Todd, in my opinion, and Jason Licht could convince the Glazers to keep him, is to say, we'll get us a veteran play caller and a veteran defensive play caller as well. To just help Todd out. A la the Eagles when they got Kellen Moore, who is now a head coach again, and Vic Fangio, a very older defensive coordinator, but great play caller, didn't make it as a head coach. What are the possibilities of that happening? I don't think it's very high because we couldn't, like everyone's saying, lame duck, right?
Yeah. I mean,
you don't know when he's going to go. I don't know how much more confidence they had in the Eagles head coach. What's his name?
Nick Sirianni.
I don't know, but maybe they just threw money at it. I don't know, but I just don't see that happening. I think that would be the only way that Todd could be still the head coach. And I just don't see how you can convince that. And if you still go into the season with him and no changes at all, maybe just special teams coach change, you've lost the fan base tremendously. Because it's not a 1 year off thing. It's multiple years of people not liking this.
Yeah. I mean, I said it today throughout Twitter. I was like, the only changes that you're going to see if Todd Bowles does stay is you're going to see a new offensive coordinator, but you're going to get a guy that is taking a promotion. So most likely you're looking at like Nate Shieldhouse. He's a passing game coordinator. He gets upgraded to OC because there'll be opportunity for him to call plays. The problem is he's probably already going to be better than Todd Bowles as the next guy in line, because when you look at it, Todd Bowles is facing, we'll go into 26, but most likely he's going to be fired in the end of 26. So you're going to be looking for a new coach in 27 regardless, just my opinion. There's just not much you can do. He's not going to change his whole defensive staff. I don't see that happening. Who are you going to get to that wants to come here? Like I said, it's going to take promotion. So you're going to have to get a DC that is coming from a position coach job, whether it's defensive line, linebacker, cornerback coach coming in to become a DC. That's the only way you get it done. You're not going to get any proven guys, I don't think. I mean, it's just not going to happen unless you just up the ante with the money, but I doubt that is going to be in play. So really, there's no reason to keep Todd Bowles. It's time to make a change. I think when you're looking at the roster, and I'll bring it up here.
You know what's funny though? I think we interviewed Kellen Moore too.
Yeah, we interviewed all those. We interviewed all those guys, and they chose elsewhere, and I can't blame them. When you look at the roster again, the offense is pretty much set. Now, granted, you're entering a time where you're getting ready to say goodbye to potentially Mike Evans. Again, we don't know if he's coming back for next season. That's going to depend, I think, a lot on who's coaching, who's the offensive coordinator. All that's going to play a factor, or if he just decides to retire, which could happen. But you're entering a time with Evans, Godwin getting up there in age, so you're probably churning the page there. I think you're still good enough at running back and tight end. Yes, Cade Otton's a good tight end. Offensive line, you have it pretty much set when healthy with Ben Bredesen, Graham Barton, and Cody Mock is a huge pickup right there. And Luke Gedeke and Wirfs as your tackle. You got Chikuma as your swing tackle for the future. You got Luke Haggard as an interior depth guy. And maybe they keep one of Mike Jordan or Dan Feeney.
No.
Remains to be seen. And then on defense, you could say you definitely are going to need multiple linebackers. to revamp that whole position. And guess what? The draft is loaded with them this year. That's a beautiful thing. Edge rusher, same thing. You want to go out and potentially get a stud. Maybe Max Crosby becomes available, but again, that one's a long shot as well. Maybe you can get somebody in free agency. I think Yaya Diaby is a great number 2. I think he's really good. You need Kalijah Kancey to stay healthy, obviously. He was big in that Panthers game and showed his impact. Secondary, I think you're pretty much set. I love Morrison's upside. I like Parrish on the outside. Zion McCollum is still a good football player, in my opinion. Antoine Winfield, Tyke Smith. Tyke maybe moves back to nickel. I would love to see that. Yeah. And then maybe get us upgrade at strong safety, whether you bring back Izzy or not, or bring, a veteran to play strong safety to really maximize Antoine Winfield Jr. I think that would be huge. But other than that, yeah, you're going to add some defensive linemen and you're going to add some linebackers for sure. But other than that, you are pretty close to being what you need as far as the team goes. But the biggest thing that you got to have in this league, and, a lot of people say it, but the most important factors on the top teams, you look at all the playoff teams, they have play caller, they have quarterback, and those things are rock solid. If you have those, I think we have one of them in Baker Mayfield. I still think he's a good quarterback when he has the right offensive coordinator in place and maximizes his ability. If you get the right play caller, ideally it's the head coach, you got an opportunity to be a sustainable winner at a very high level and give yourself an opportunity to win a championship. And that should be the goal. That should be the goal of every team in the NFL. And I think you're seeing it right now with all the firings that we've already had. We'll see who gets those jobs, but teams are moving on. Even the Falcons, they moved on after winning 4 in a row. Bucs just lost 7 of 9.
Yep.
And I get it. I still think they're going to fire Todd Bowles. I think they're taking their time because they want to make sure it goes down the right way. They're going to have their meeting with Todd. They're going to suggest changes to be made. I think Todd's going to reject them, and I think he ends up probably retiring and stepping away.
I don't think that happens. I don't think he will retire. I think it's just they're doing their homework. I was saying, there's so many
they have so many Glazers. I mean, there's a big family, so they all have a say in it. Yeah. And I think they truly do love Todd Bowles, the person, and they want to do this the right way and send him off in the right fashion.
Well, but this is not an attack on the person. The
right.
Guy, clearly, the players like him a lot, right? But sometimes the position of head coach, which needs to oversee everything, it's a lot more than it comes to. Is he a defensive mastermind? Yes. Does he understand what needs to happen, what should happen, where guys need to be? Absolutely. But it's not being voiced over to the players that he's telling it to. And it's maybe he doesn't need to be all the way up here. Maybe he just needs to be control of that defense in the rooms in which he knows that he has to tell these people what the hell has to happen. And it's not being voiced over correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's too much of the loyalty to his coaches. Maybe it is, because there's a lot of older coaches. Like Larry Foote's the youngest guy, I feel like. But, I mean, in that same respect, I think the Glazers, for one, didn't they fire the Manchester United coach too?
Yeah, they did. That happened today, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they have that coach that they just fired.
Yep.
Now they're having to come into this room and hear Jason Licht say, "Oh, stable Todd, he's the guy. He's the guy. Bruce Arians, he's the guy. He's the guy." How many people are saying this and not having any other opinion? Okay, well, what if he's not?
Yeah.
Give me a reason of what. Yes, you're so stable on he's it, right? What if he isn't? Well, give me the devil's advocate, because we can't just be blinded by saying, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Because this is my product. I'm putting this out. I'm in the business of making money. That's what they are. They're a business. You're supposed to be the CEO to make them money. And if you think you're just so loyal, you're going to make money based off of feelings, they ain't gonna work.
Mhm.
We got to find a way to win games. And have they outdone it? Like it's with the Byron Leftwich offense, like it was outdated, too long developing. Is the Todd Bowles way of proceeding, dropping back edge rushers going to work? I don't necessarily think. I don't think it's working anymore, because clearly there's little gaps and teams are just getting the ball out faster almost every damn year. And that's the way you beat us. And is it the linebacker plays awful? Yeah. Why didn't you address it at all? At all. That was number one need. We said all offseason.
Yeah.
Don't even touch it. Don't even touch it.
Yeah.
And then the balls to say middle linebacker is probably the strongest position group on our team. That's when I was like, no, Jason Licht, you're at fault.
Okay.
Like, to say that blatantly and it's clearly the worst. I don't know. That right there is merit in.
I thought Todd Bowles said that.
Both said it. Both.
Oh,
Both
okay.
said it.
Yeah.
It's why. And then,
But again, like
also,
that's
Jason
like
Licht was hyping up Braswell.
Braswell. Yeah.
He's the next up and coming. That's LT right there. Plus,
I didn't say that, but
no, he didn't say that.
but yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. You know, Jason definitely, and I get it. All the, you know, the talk on the draft, the talk on free agency, all of it has to be better. It has to be more aggressive, more singular, not singular, but more specific approach. And how do we better not only the team for this year, but also for future years, and really maximize the roster? How can I help this club the most by what I bring in to the team? That has to be a mindset, especially this year. They have the cap space. They have room to operate. They've gotten away from the credit card bill. There should be opportunities to go out and make some moves. Just got to hope they're the right ones. But I also factor in coaching staff plays a role in that. And I've been talking about that throughout. The coaching staff plays a big part, because Jason Licht, and again, this goes to like the whole loyalty thing. He does listen to his coaches because they give him the ingredients on what they're looking for as far as specific player. So if your coaches aren't good at the evaluation part and they're not suggesting the right people, that's also an issue. And I think when you change the head coach and you get a more modern mind to the NFL today and you upgrade the voices, I think that could help in terms of scouting and evaluation and team and understanding what these guys are asking for and what they need. So I think it all plays hand in hand. And Todd Bowles spoke about that today. It's like we have to do our evaluations and then we'll have a better understanding of what we exactly need from a player standpoint. So that does beg you to question. So it's going to be interesting for sure. Definitely the offseason. I think, especially as we move forward this week, we're going to have confirmation on a lot of things.
All right. So, but that's another part where I just, it scratches your head because you don't truly know who the hell took these guys. Like Rampage said, all those players were handpicked by Todd.
I don't know about that.
See, so
yeah.
But here's my point with
but
that.
I do know they have voices and opinions on each player that was picked.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I think Jason Licht, it's ultimately his button to push, right? But all these people were saying, oh, Liam Cohen wanted too much control. And that's why he left. Well, then if you want too much control, that means you're wanting to say the guys that you want. And to me, that means a GM saying, oh, no, you're overstepping your boundaries. I have my thing and you're not going to take it. So maybe Jason Licht has too much control of that. And there isn't a good marriage of selecting who the hell they want. Because how in the hell do we go from a point of interviewing the Cardinals, Jess Root, Rise Up See Red, and they say Todd Bowles' defense is 3 defensive tackles, big run stuffers, fast middle linebackers to clog those A gaps.
Yeah.
And now we have a Logan Hall who doesn't know what the hell run stuffing is, even though it's the best year of his career.
Yeah, he played better.
Kalijah Cansey, extremely small. I literally said during the draft, I go, I didn't even look at him because he didn't fit our mold. We're just getting so far away from what it was that worked for him, and they're just trying to mold and be dynamic in which way, but they're just throwing things at a wall, throwing shit at a wall and see what sticks. What are you? I know you got to adapt and learn based on every year. They're scheming to beat your defense. They're scheming to beat your blitzes. They're scheming to just be more dynamic. Every offense is. I mean, this is what the NFL is, the best of the best. But you got to have, like we always say, an identity of what are you good at and what can you sprinkle in little by little, right? It's not just, let's just change everything right now. If it is, then you got to change your coaching staff. Like, I don't know if they know what the hell their defense truly is. Like, offensively, yeah, we have corner pieces everywhere. And we know how to use them, not this year.
Yeah.
But defensively, you don't necessarily need the big, lengthy DBs anymore, right? Like, we're playing so much zone, you don't necessarily have to be in a man. You're like 70% zone nowadays. So what the hell are we getting these bigger guys? Parrish, let them run the outside. Morrison, let them run the outside. And let's have Tyke in the nickel being a bigger type of backer, right? But it's like,
but that's a big,
know how to change that. The personnel that they have, they don't know.
Yeah. And that's a big point to letting go of Todd Bowles and his staff, because again, the player utilization has been so inconsistent. Just not being able to understand and recognize what changes need to be made on the fly, understanding what your players do best. And he even said that, like, he didn't say it, but he talked about it today. Like, we need to do a better job of finding what these guys do good at, instead of putting them in what they don't do well. Like, that was just a clear sign that you are inept as a football coach and a coaching staff. And it's a big problem. And I agree with John V here. Light has final say, but he ain't picking anyone Bowles doesn't want. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, especially when you look at Logan Hall and then you go the next year to Kalijah Cansey. Like, there's just two tails of the sign there, or two tails of the tape, and one is significantly better than the other one. But yeah, I mean, there's been adjustments. Again, going from Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, obviously that's a huge drop off. When JPP was at his prime before the injuries and age, he was one of the best, and that was a great move by Light. I think they just got to get a little bit more back to that as far as the overall aggression and making trades if needed, signing free agents to help maximize your young players. And this was a great point by John Ledyard in his article. If you guys haven't checked it out, be sure to check out his Substack. There's so much being put on these young players, throughout the years, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You're asking Tyke Smith, he's only a second-year player, but again, we expect so much of him. He's been out of position a lot of times in pass coverage as a safety. I don't think he's ideal fit as a safety. That's why we talked about him being more of a nickel player, because when you look at him, he had a great season, a lot of tackles, but at the same time, most of that stuff is inside the box, him coming downhill, playing physical. And it's just recognizing who you have, and you just got to do a better job of supplementing your young draft picks with veteran players that can be capable to allow these guys, if they need more time to develop, they are given that time, instead of just say, hey, you're a starter. Let's go, go do your job. So I think that is something that we got to look at, and a case in point of that is like Elijah Roberts stepping in as a starter. It's great that he was showing early things like in the season, but at the same time, like, he still needs a lot of work, run stopping, all that stuff needs to be developed. So bottom line, guys, I mean, we'll see what happens this week, but I have a feeling that change is going to take place. You got to start diving into potential head coach candidates, and we'll wait to do that until it becomes official, if it does at all. If we do keep them, then I think you're just kind of delaying the inevitable, in my opinion. And I don't know what happens from there. Obviously they'll try to make staff changes, but I think it's going to be very difficult to do so. And you're probably looking somewhere of what we've seen so far. That's 8-9 to 10-7 at best. And, hope for good luck in the playoffs if you do make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's the frustrating part of it. So, like, I know that there's feelings attached, but like, because he is, to be honest, a pretty good when it comes to playoffs, one game at a time. He knows how to disguise certain things, right? When he is that heavily involved, yes. But like, does he not understand?
But I mean, he's still 1-3 in the playoffs as a head coach.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, as a defensive coordinator,
Right,
he's pretty good in the playoffs. But like in the full length of a season, it's like, are you not understanding there's giant lulls for a reason?
Yeah.
Like, even in that thing, I said, like, he's lost, I think it was 4 or 5, I think 6 years in a row, there's been multiple 3-game losing streaks in his seasons. Like, the 4 years of head coach for the Bucs, multiple 3. I think the last 2 with the Jets, he had multiple 3. I think he had one where there was 2 4-game losing streaks in that last season. I was like, holy hell. It didn't look good. And yeah, the Jets had nowhere near the talent the Bucs have right now. A dead ass. That's mediocrity. But it's frustrating. Yeah, he can say some of the right things at times, but the action of in the process of getting it to get to that point isn't there. And as a head coach, he's got to see the coaches he's going to instill to voice what he wants to have done. And I think just too much of this loyalty thing is going on. Loyalty works if things are working. Like, you got to look in the mirror and be like, okay, we haven't changed shit. Someone's not getting it. Is it me? Is it our defense? Well, what is it that we have to change? And if you're too loyal and your boss says, no, you got to make a change and you don't, something's going to change.
Yeah.
But it's just not adding up. Right. And even offensively, like Grizzard, when they even asked him about Grizzard, he's like, he learned some things. I know he's not going to immediately out anyone, but like from where you were to where you are, it's tough. It's tough. And like I said, I don't see us getting a veteran play caller. I just don't see it happening. I don't, unless BA comes out of retirement. That's about it.
That's
like,
not
the
happening.
Only option. Or Tom Moore takes over, I guess. I don't know.
No, he's both too old.
I mean, I'm just saying I laugh at it, but it's just not possible, I don't think.
Yeah, I think, again, if you're changing the offense coordinator, you're adding a defense coordinator, and basically you're making Todd Bowles be something that he's not already good at, which is being a walk-around coach and being the CEO type. I don't think he's cut out for that. It's been shown in the games where he doesn't know when to make the right decisions. They had to force him to hire an in-game coach manager. Like, you're just obviously delaying the inevitable. But yeah, I think that's spot on, Buccaneer Bryce. Yep. I think it's definitely exactly, like, why now? It's too late. Yeah. I think that's the main issue. He's always a step behind in the process, and because there is no process with this team, and that's the problem, especially on-field process. I think there is a decent process when it comes to the general manager side of things. I think they have added good talent. You look at what they've added on offense, and you can't deny that it hasn't been good. We've added good offensive linemen. We've added playmaking ability in the running back position, the wide receiver room for sure, tight end. It's all been there. Quarterback, getting Baker Mayfield, I think, again, that's a huge signing. Defensively, they have hit or missed, and more than not, they have missed on that side of the ball. And it's unfortunate. I do think they have reworked and revamped the secondary, which a lot of fans did want last year, because the secondary has been an issue. And I think it is better talent-wise. Still, it's not being maximized, and that points to coaching. When you look at the secondary, I think you have players in Antoine Winfield, Tyke, Benjamin Morrison, Jacob Parrish. Those are all draft picks by Jason Licht. Jamel Dean, he's probably going to be gone, but still a good player when he's on the field. Problem is he's not on the field. Linebackers, yes, huge miss, huge red flag. You counted on Levante David probably too long because he's Levante David. He's a Hall of Famer. Kudos to him. He ties Derek Brooks for all time in tackles. Should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Yaya Diaby is a hit. 3rd round pick. He's a very good player. I think he's an edge rusher. That's a number 2. He's just not that tier 1, but he can be very capable if he does have another guy on the outside of him. They tried that with Hassan Reddick. The results just didn't pan out for Hassan. It's unfortunate. Vita Vea, another Jason Licht draft pick, has been good his whole career. Sometimes great, but he's been good for the most part. Kalijah Cansey, I think, has a chance to be an all-pro guy, but you got to be able to stay on the field, and that's the main issue for him. So it just hasn't worked out. David Walker, yeah, I know, 4th round pick. They were probably putting too much on him. I agree there. I agree with that, but he tore his ACL. He probably would have helped this team. I don't know how much of an impact it would have been, but that's another guy that they were counting on to be a second edge to the backups, or to the main guys, I should say. And then JJ Roberts was one of their undrafted free agents that they found. He was another player that was oncoming, and he got hurt too. So it's just a little bit of bad luck, but it's also a lot more, I would say, the coaching that is not knowing how to maximize these guys, and it's unfortunate.
I will say this.
Yeah.
It's not just based off all these injuries as well.
Yeah.
Some of the sports science guys, are we listening to them? Analytics guys, are we listening to them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, another thing where we've done deep dives into Grant Udinsky, and hearing him talk about how the Viking staff and how they have dedicated days to, we got to make sure it's a rest day. It's got to be a walkthrough here. You got to make sure they're getting to the medical staff to fix their issues, because we got to know what the hell we're going to have on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we do that by preparing on a Tuesday. It's like a mental grasp that a head coach needs to have. And I think Todd Bowles,
that's lacking.
Yeah. And Todd Bowles doesn't have it. He has it from a defensive coordinator room's look over the team, instead of the general saying, okay, this is what I got to look at here, not just one room. And yeah, I mean, it's not a personal attack on him. It's just like, you're just seeing it over and over again, and your body of work is showing who you are. And mediocrity is what people are showing. And you just, that's the thing with me. Like with the 49ers, if you have a bad season, okay, but you can bounce right back.
Yeah.
It's not like there's ever been a bounce back. It's always been the same low middle of the season. Yet for some reason you start hot and then you just get figured out, and there's no sign of recovery.
Yeah. And what made matters worse this season, you have a team that definitely has an edge when it comes to talent on the offensive side of the ball. The problem is you had a legit first-time play caller that was just obviously very inexperienced, and he was going through so many, growing pains. And I also think Todd Bowles definitely had his influence in the second half of the season, especially when interceptions started to go up. We saw the changes that he made. And I also think it was more so he was trying to run more of a Mike McDaniel's offense, where it was more attacking the outside numbers of the field instead of attacking the middle of the field a lot more, with a lot more consistency. And that's where Baker was at his best last year, because Cohen knew how to not only design, and that was a big thing of it too, like play design, how you sequence, how do you set up these guys to really have success, because we just didn't see that this year. Last year, we saw many guys where guys were wide open. I'm talking wide open. And it was easy touchdown after easy touchdown for Baker Mayfield. We didn't really have that this season. It was just consistent inconsistency. And that's a Todd Bowles staff. We saw it in New York Jets. He did the same things, consistent losing streaks. And yeah, they didn't have twice the talent that this team has. Yeah. But you are who you are. And I think Todd Bowles is what he is. And he's getting up there in age. He's, close to, I think, 64. An old man doesn't really usually change his ways. Once you're set in your ways, that's what happens. That's why I think it's smart to go after one of these young guys, and whether that's a Clint Kubiak, a Clay Kubiak from San Francisco, Grant Udinski, we love. Yes, 30 years old, but you got to start sometime. And I think it would be a hell of a move to invest in that instead of just staying pat with Todd Bowles and hoping that change comes. Hope isn't a strategy. Never has been, and it never should be, and never will be. So what are we doing? And I think we'll find out soon enough, especially on Wednesday. I think if no moves have been made by Wednesday, then the sad truth is Todd Bowles is probably back. And we just have to accept it, hope for the best, and see what happens.
It'd be rough. I mean, a lot of fans would be in uproar, but I mean, you just face the reality and you move forward with it. And then you almost say, okay, well, then this is his deciding year again. What is he going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think it literally would be everyone. It would be a clean house. It'd be what the Falcons did.
It could be. Very well could be.
The Glazers would be like, okay, we believed you and you made us look like idiots. And you lost us a lot of bloody money. But I mean,
yeah.
But to look at horizon of like a Udinski option, so young, people red flag, get away from it. Never called plays again. Like that is a huge jump. Never called plays, and you're going to try to make him a head coach. It'd be tough. But Sean McVay, I don't think ever called plays. I think he went from a tight ends coach to.
Well, he was an offensive coordinator for 1 year. He was the Washington's offensive coordinator for a couple of years. And then he got hired, but I'm not sure if he called plays. It might have been Jay Gruden who called plays, but McVay did was the offense coordinator, so he did lead the room for at least a couple of years, and then the Rams hired him at age 30. So I mean, it worked out.
It did work out. Very smart man.
I just think
smart man.
And I think the biggest thing is just the process. And we talk about it so many times, and you hear these guys talk, whether it's a Grant Udinski, a Nate Shieldhouse, who has called plays, granted college, but you just see how they talk. They understand the little details. They understand how to communicate those details to their staff. Or not just to their staff, but to their players. That's just so big. And like they have the big picture mindset, but also they know how to narrow that mindset into what matters at the current moment. And I think that's very important. You got to have that. Clayton Adams from Dallas, I think would be a good candidate. You look at Chris Shula, the Rams defense coordinator, if they decided to go that route, I think that would be smart. There's just so many opportunities to get a guy, not only for now, but for the future, and really build this the right way. And hopefully a new voice and a new coach can lead this team to make one final run before you probably have to say goodbye to a lot of these veteran players, more so on the offensive side and some on the defensive side. Vita Vea is getting up there in age. So now's the time to go get a coach for, the next several years. And if you miss, you start again. Like we've seen that constant times. Look at Atlanta. They said, nope, we don't like it and say goodbye. Cleveland Browns, they fired a very good coach in Stefanski, in my opinion. And they decided to go with a change. You look at the Raiders, Pete Carroll didn't work at all. And they're going to go somewhere else. The Cardinals with Jonathan Gannon. Gannon's a prime example. Very good defensive mind. Very good. Problem is, just probably not a head coach. He's just probably not made out for it. And Todd Bowles is probably very similar in that way.
I guarantee his players really like him.
Yeah.
It's just not it's not an attack on that. It's more production based. What's your process to get a production, get an outcome, and it's just not coming to fruition. I guess really quick, First time viewer, first time commentator. Can the Bucs woes be solved in 1 year? It's in the free
I
agency.
think-
He's done well, solid draft picks. Do you think it's
Yeah.
even possible?
I think it's very possible. I think we've seen it happen before. We've seen the impact of a new coach coming in. We've seen the impact of minor changes in player personnel. You see with Jacksonville right now. Jacksonville pretty much has the same roster as they did last year. And they were a 4-13 football team. And now they're 13-4. Just shows you how much the right play caller, the right head coach, the right staff, because he got a good staff around him with the defensive coordinator and Campanelli. You bring in, you add Trevor Lawrence. Well, you don't add, but you elevate Trevor Lawrence's game. It's huge. You look at Washington last year, the Commanders. They draft Jaden Daniels. They bring in Dan Quinn, a veteran football coach. He brings in the right guys, Cliff Kingsbury, who's probably going to get, head coaching interviews as well. They maximized their talent and they made it to the NFC Championship game. So it just shows you, like, if you have the right mix, especially on the coaching staff and at quarterback, anything is possible in this game.
It would just be a big turnover. I mean, there's got to be a lot of different coaches. I mean, because like the thing is, yes, the Liam Cohen situation, but it's also the Eagles situation, like I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Like if Todd Bowles does stay, you're getting a whole new staff on both sides of the ball, and it takes a head coach to be like, okay, yeah, I'm at fault. I'm going to change my thinking and get guys. We know he can find coordinators. He just went all in on Grizzard and it didn't work. But defensively, he's going to have to change and give it up. Or just, can you do it? Let's see.
I just don't think you're just delaying the inevitable by doing that, because why did you make Todd Bowles a head coach? You made him a head coach because of his defensive abilities. He's a defensive head coach. You're expecting him to elevate said defense, and he hasn't been able to do it. He just hasn't. And I think, blame goes to Jason Licht, but also blame can go to Todd Bowles. Why are you not putting your foot down and saying, hey, this is what we need, and say, no, let's not draft Emeka Egbuka. Let's draft someone else. And, put some force behind what you want. And maybe that's not happening. Maybe it doesn't need to happen. Maybe that's why, Jason Licht has to do better. That could be, Light's issue. But at the same time, you're the head coach. You have some control of the roster. You got to put your, a little bit more oomph behind it. And maybe he's just too nice of a guy. And that's also an issue. We talked about that too, with like the nice player thing, the whole whitey tighty thing. I don't buy into that very much, but he even talked about that in his press conference today. He's like, we could use some more guys that have that dog mentality. I mean, everybody wants that, but we'll see. Definitely. The more talent you have, the better it's going to help everyone. But at the same time, my biggest thing is coaching is so important in this league. If you have a good coach, they can make the team better by scheme and knowing how to maximize the personnel. And we see it across the NFL teams. I mean, it's there. The playoff teams, I mean.
But that's the thing. It can be changed quickly. It's if your upper management sees the vision of what we want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't be the same thing. You can't go into this off season thinking it was just because of the injuries.
Yeah.
It was just because of Baker's injuries to his arm and knee as to why the offense didn't go, why the running game wasn't working. Yeah. Some of your guards were unplayable. But, I mean, you find good play callers find a way around that until you get someone back. You have two of the best tackles in the league, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you got to find a way. You can't complain about what you don't have. You got to use what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it sounds like they're doing in this offseason. You want to do? Do you want to run with that, or do you want to find someone that says, I know what we have and what we do well. I'm going to focus on those things and build off of it.
Yeah.
Don't focus what you don't have. Focus on what you have. It sounds like we're doing the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you look at Indiana, and I know college is not the same as NFL, but the process, I mean, just look at Kirk Cignetti, what he's doing with Indiana football and what he has and what he has built. You listen to Mendoza, the quarterback, talk, and it's like, man, that guy he's going to be a match for Tom Brady and the Raiders. And he's probably going to be the first overall pick. That is a guy that just understands process because of what he's being taught by his head coach and coaching staff. Like, that's what you need. And Cignetti doesn't make excuses whatsoever. He understands who he has on his team, and he talks about preparation nonstop. And that's the biggest thing. And then the whole thing with not being ready on Sunday coming out from Jamel Dean when the bullets fly and you guys weren't prepared in those situations. Like, that's a coaching issue, guys. That's a coaching issue. And, but I want to bring back up, just looking real quick. I know we're getting close to the end here. But just the current free agents. So I'll read them out loud, Mark. Mike Evans, Hassan Reddick, Jamel Dean, Levante. Levante's probably retiring. Greg Gaines, Riley Dixon will probably be back. He's got a club option. Logan Hall, great. Sterling Shepard.
Thanks,
Charlie Heck, Kendall Vildor, Rashad White, probably on the way out. Teddy Bridgewater, Deion Jones, Cade Otton, Co Keefe, Christian Izzy, and Sean Tucker, Marquise Watts, Evan Deckers, Tyler McClellan. Yeah. So the last couple of names are restricted free agents, and then you have like these guys who won't cost anything. But I mean, of those free agents, I mean, who would be your priorities? I mean, obviously the easy answer would be Mike Evans if he wants to be back for sure.
Yeah, but those guys, they're going to take their time to make a decision, I feel.
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick, I mean, the thing, priority, to be honest, on that list, there's not much of a priority.
Yeah, I mean, going through it, there's not really many. Yeah, there's not really many that you.
Cade would be.
Yeah, Cade. Yeah. I would say Cade. I would say Co Keefe just because of his blocking aspect. If you want to bring him back, the restricted free agents, that will be interesting to see what happens with Izzy and Tucker. But the rest of them, I don't expect Jamel Dean to be back. I don't expect Hassan Reddick, Levante David retiring, Greg Gaines replaceable, Logan Hall replaceable, maybe Logan Hall. Maybe if he's like your DL4, I'd be okay with it because he does offer pass rush ability, but that's about it.
Then again, how is he used differently? If he's
true.
I'm going to attack style.
Yeah, that's a great point. It depends who the coach is, but Sterling Shepard probably not. Vildor maybe. I guess it just really depends on price point. But yeah, I would say the priorities are probably Cade Otton, Mike Evans. And that's probably about it, I would say.
I mean, because like it's a push for anywhere else. Like clearly the bottom of your roster was awful. Your special teams was awful. So like a lot of those guys are special teams guys. And you need to clean house on that because you yourself said you kicked it out the end zone because your guys didn't know what the hell to do. They couldn't get down there. They couldn't make a tackle.
Yeah.
Then you got to push on from it. Either your special teams coach definitely needs to get fired because he don't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And the guys that you brought in, you said you were happy because you had I remember this. They have individual guys that are there for special teams. They were so happy. And it was one of the worst seasons of coverage from punt to kickoff. And then you gave up. It across the board, you got to fix that, the bottom of your roster. And that's why I was like, there's no priority there. It's Mike Evans, Cade Otton. That's about it. Levante, let him make his decision, which I think he's going to retire. But if he wants to come back, you let him in the door. I don't care if he's slow or anything. His brain is going to be where it's at, and you're hoping you're drafting at least 1 to 2 inside linebackers. And anyone that can have a second with Levante is going to learn from one of the best. And you would value that. But you relied on just Servassier, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question here by Rampage, or comment, I should say. Not enough cap space to bring back Mike at 20. Yeah, I don't think he gets 20 million. It's probably gonna be on the lower side. I would say at the highest, probably 17 million. You can still get there's not really going to be elite edge out there as far as free agents. You would have to trade. We'll see. I think Nick Herbig is definitely a target they should try to go after from Pittsburgh, but we'll see where that goes. But I think you can definitely do it. You have money to finance and restructure if you needed. You got Tristan Wirfs, you got a lot of guys that can, move money around to create more cap space. They have about 35 million in cap space going into it. So they have plenty there to work with. And like Mark said, I don't think there's a lot of guys on that list that they are going, or at least shouldn't prioritize, unless they're going to be super cheap. And we're talking cheap. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. And also a good point here by Chris. If Bowles is back, Mike Evans might leave, so you won't go through this again. That's a good point. I think that could be very telling, for sure. But at the same time, I think Mike wants to be here or he's going to retire. I just don't see him making the change or the move. And obviously he's going to be motivated because he didn't get 1,000 yards this year and had a disappointing season just because of the injuries.
Yeah, I would find it wild if he left. Very wild.
Yeah.
That's just me. But
yeah, I agree with that.
The list really isn't there. And I'm looking at the free agents for this year. Not many names on there. It's a lot of older guys.
Yeah. The one that sticks out is Jalen Phillips. Just because he's a more younger guy, and I think he does have upside, and I think he can be a good pass rusher, or at least has shown he's a good pass rusher, I think, for his limited time in the league. It just depends on if Eagles are going to sign him back. So, yeah, I think he would be a good option. And then obviously the trade market, either that or you try to be aggressive and go get a David Bailey from Texas Tech. Trade up into the top 10 if you have to.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have to trade. I mean,
yeah.
You're going to have a sizable effort to improve a massive weakness on your team that's been there for years, 4 years, and stop it neglecting certain things and being cocky about certain other areas. Because clearly the tide went out and we all see your shit. We all see it. Okay. And it don't look good and it ain't big. So wake up and do something about it. It's frustrating that every year we have this same thing. That's why it blows my mind that they're so confident and cocky when it's just like same story. But I wanted also to say over here, where was it? About the old Beetlejuice shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
I liked it. Hey, it's comfy. I like it. But hey, it's one of those years, guys. A lot. Yes. Be bold.
Yeah.
Be bold.
Yep, for sure. And I'm telling you guys, I have a good feeling that it's going to happen by Wednesday. It could come down the pipe tomorrow. But I would say Wednesday, maybe Thursday morning at the latest, we see something. I just look at it. There's just no way that they decide to keep Todd Bowles, especially with how this season went, how the past seasons have gone, how the inconsistencies on the same issues just continue to pop up. The overall process not being there. So, yeah, we'll see. Unfortunately, Buccaneers do not make the playoffs. We don't have to likely witness the beatdown that the Rams are probably going to put on the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, I mean, we move into 2026, so hope everyone has a happy new year, and hopefully a lot of good things will come this offseason, and hopefully things are going to be better for the future. And let me pull this up just so I can show this. Yeah, Buccaneers have the 15th overall pick. That's exciting. That's our what?
Look at the first comment by Jason M.
Oh yeah. I know they're all. Everyone wants Sunny Styles, so we'll see.
Always sunny in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, 15th overall pick should be cool. I think that's the highest the Buccaneers have selected since 2020 when they got Tristan Wirfs. They were at 14, I believe, that year. They traded up one spot to get Tristan Wirfs. So maybe we can have a repeat of that type of selection. Maybe it is Sonny Styles. I think he's linebacker 1 for sure in this draft. But long ways to go. Hope you guys stay tuned to Real Bucs Talk. We're going to be all over it this offseason, especially with player evaluation, film study. Definitely going to start getting started on player evaluations from this past season, 2025. Want to get that back rolling again. I know we had that in the early 2020s or the early, time since we started this podcast in 2020. So I want to start getting back on that train. We'll definitely look at, the high-end players, the high statistics. Baker Mayfield obviously will be a big one. Mecca Ibuka, the running game, offensive line play, defensive line play, linebackers. Yes, we'll dive into all of that. And then once we get that started, we'll definitely start kicking in our draft coverage, film analysis, free agency analysis. A lot of this, if you haven't checked out our Substack, be sure to check that out. It's in the link below in the description. We're definitely going to have a lot of the draft prospects probably on the Substack just because of copyright issues with YouTube. They are very strict when it comes to draft and just all their nonsense that they put on us. But that's why we have Substack. So it's going to be a lot of good stuff. That's a good question. Mock draft Mondays. Yeah, we might start doing some mock drafts. I know mock drafts is huge for a lot of channels as far as ratings and stuff. So we'll definitely, I know a lot of people love it. So we'll definitely try to incorporate that. Maybe, I don't know, Mark, maybe every other live stream, maybe we'll do something. Put it at the end.
Or we'll start doing Rebuild the Bucs.
Yeah.
Live streams too, right?
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be fun. It's unfortunate. I know everyone's pissed off. We're all pissed off that, the season didn't go how we wanted to. Things didn't work out. A lot of the moves can be questioned, analyzed, hindsight's 2020, all that things. But I think the one constant that remains, they're going to have to make a change. And I think changes are definitely going to be on the way as we get moving. But with that said, Mark, hope everyone has a good night. Mark, any last words before we get out of here?
No, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for this offseason.
Yeah.
Change will happen, whether it be the biggest top of the line change you want and Todd Bowles remains to be seen, but I guarantee you there will be big change. Offensive coordinator, I think, will be a big change. Right? No matter what. I mean, Baker was not Baker from last year at all. And it was telling. It's not just his up and down season. He was good with Canales, way better with Cohen. It was a free fall. It was good in the beginning, then it went down quick. So offense, I think, is going to get changed. Defense, a lot of different guys. So let's see. Let's see. I just think change will happen. It's just how much will it be changed is the question. So
yep. Buckle up for sure. Couldn't agree more. Be sure to hit that like button. Comment if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to look at. I know Buccaneer Bryce says Sonny Styles. Yeah, we'll definitely get him on the list for sure. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys subscribe if you're new. And with that said, we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll definitely go live if anything breaks for sure. But until then, go Bucs. See you next time.
Woo!